I love to watch good sports. I can be watching two teams I can't stand.
Mm-hmm.
If they perform, I'm going to love it. I'm not like certain people who I don't like the team, so I'm not going to enjoy it. I enjoy sports.
Yeah.
So I can enjoy two teams I don't like playing great basketball.
It's game 7 in hockey.
Yeah. I mean, I don't
didn't get better.
like any of these teams, but they're individuals I want to see play. You know, and in my mind, I wouldn't be surprised if we see something totally new. I mean,
Well,
I'm not
real
lying to
new
you.
would be
The
Dallas,
Pacers against
Indiana, and Indy.
how about that Minnesota?
Well, Minnesota would be so fresh.
Minnesota, Indiana would be as new
That'd
as
be
they
fresh.
come with this new stuff.
Yeah,
right
it'd
now.
be fresh.
But I mean, Luca is a guy. I think he's one that you think he would have accomplished more. But you got to understand, just because he's great as an individual doesn't mean the team is going to be great.
Yeah, it's not like with Dirk.
Yeah.
Dirk had kid. Dirk had other mature components there.
Mhm.
Also, the guy on the bench had been there. So what I like about this is that it hasn't been manipulated. This has been earned. They didn't trick this. They no outside forces on this.
Mm-hmm.
This happened on the floor.
It has, and I just hope that it continues because I don't like watching basketball, and I see that the ref is too involved.
Some of it's been
and I know
pathetic.
people listen and they hear that sometimes, and they don't understand. Like what I'm trying to tell you is the referee doesn't have to do anything drastic to change a game. He just have to do it early enough to change your approach, and then the game is changed.
Yeah.
And you watch that sometimes where in the beginning of a game they give 2 quick fouls on a star player, and you go, "Why would they call that?"
Yeah.
That's when they're setting up something.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
One of those two bigs gets something early on, you start thinking, uh-oh.
Yeah. So I want to see this thing go. And at this point, listen, when I look at Boston, I see two people in Brown and Tatum they've had a lot of press over the last 4 or 5 years.
And they're nice.
And I want to see, if you're going to get over the hump, get over the hump.
Mm-hmm.
But they're playing against the Pacers, a team that I know they kind of like slap the floor for defense. And like I said, Halliburton comes in and he doesn't shoot the ball like most, but it goes in like you want it to do.
He's not selfish.
No, exceptional.
Yeah.
But then you flip it to the next side. Luka has been great since he came in here with hype, since he came from wherever the hell.
And he'll tell you that.
He stepped in,
yeah.
And the dude's been a prodigy forever.
I love his swagger.
Kyrie, who
prodigy,
pisses off everybody he wants to piss off, but the dude can play basketball.
He can play ball.
But damn, I'm looking at Anthony Edwards with this crew, and I'm going, they gonna have something to say about it. So ultimately, I think that it may not be what most people want. It may not be what TV wanted. But these two series might be as good as some ever. Because I know one thing, they're going to give us what they got.
Plus Gafford, and I'm partial. I'm prejudiced. Gafford gives me the hope that our football team that I'm hanging on to, that you can go from a disaster situation to high promise.
Mm-hmm.
He went to Wizards. He had he was done. And now look at him. I'm so happy for that guy. It lets you know you hang in there long enough and get around the right people.
Yeah.
That conceptually are smart and unselfish.
It comes down to that. It comes down to having something built around you.
Mm-hmm.
And as we were getting ready for the show earlier, I was talking with Landfill, and he was like, tell me about the Commanders were hiring this dude, Brandon Sosna.
Oh, yeah, brother.
I'm like, okay. As I look at this thing now, I knew a lot of people that were working inside the building.
Mm-hmm.
But I also knew that it was only 1 to 2, 3, possibly 3 at the most making decisions. They have hired people in positions that I don't think we've even had. And at this point now, when you're looking at it, you see, and I think this is what Josh meant about, everybody spends the same money, get the same athletes, but you can win in other areas.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to make sure you got the best of the best. And that changes up. And when you look at these teams right now coming here, Indiana has changed it. And Reggie Miller did tell people in New York, the boogeyman is coming. And the boogeyman is playing in the championship and the conference championship right now in New York's at home.
Yeah.
You look at Minnesota, how they put that team together.
You know it because you've been through it and you've been around 2 to 3 Hall of Fame coaches. And then you've been around some jackasses.
Yeah.
So you've seen you got to be around the best and the worst to really understand it.
Oh, yeah.
So you know when they're talking is hollow. You don't even listen to them. And now we're seeing the ruins. What impressed me most about this current group we have here with the Commanders, people leave Baltimore and San Francisco. They leave blue blood programs.
Mm-hmm.
And they get their wife and kids to buy in.
Yeah.
Because you know what I do? My mom coming to me and say, hey, baby, we're going to take a job. I said, Mama, what? You know what I mean? If I'm
Have you been looking at their record?
What? You know what I mean? And so that's, to me, people come to them. That's a thumbs up, man.
Yeah.
That is so impressive. Baltimore? Okay.
See, the thing also is I know, and we are kind of straddling this thing, basketball and football, because you're looking at some of these younger teams that are in this position
Who
right
thought
now.
Minnesota, Indiana?
And I think looking at this team now is positioned to where when they start really doing something, it's going to be a younger team. It's
got to be.
Word. It's going to be, yeah. So I think ultimately what was going on is when they were going through the hiring process of Quinn, Ben Johnson, the majority of the people in this town, because we've dealt with such bad situations, let's say like
we
that,
go flashy.
We are all stuck on names now.
Flash.
Okay?
Yeah.
Ben Johnson, we hear his name, this and that, but do you think he had the connections and the influence that Quinn has at this point?
It's impossible. Not any fault of his own.
I've sat here.
Just too young in the game.
But I've sat there and I talked with Adam at the Super Bowl. And you've been around me long enough. What I like to do, once somebody tell me something, I sit back and I watch. And then I talk to other people to get information. That dude had as much control, not control, but influence of people coming here than anybody else. And I'm now at this point wondering, would Ben really have done that? Now, everyone wants to look at, well, he turned down Washington. Washington was offering him. Who else offered him? See, you got to think about that too.
Know.
We were offering him. He decided to stay. So with me, nobody else offered him? Was he as juicy in other states and franchises as our fan base was looking at him? Just because we've been so accustomed to mediocrity,
we're abused,
and BS that we think everything else is the best.
Yeah.
And we may have lucked upon something that's going to end up being better than what we could have thought it could be.
Yeah, and you say we lucked upon a guy that's been in the Super Bowl and been with a team. Nobody gets more pub and recognition than Dallas. His units didn't get to where they wanted to go, but we all saw him from the outside looking in going, wow. They had pressure on people. They were doing things we couldn't do. They had a second. So all this being said, the one thing I tell everybody that will listen, who else do you know that could have influenced people to leave blue blood organizations to come here?
Not many.
Not many. Because I know I would have said to people, Mom, you sure?
I've been asked many a times, why did I not get into coaching? And I said, the thing about coaching, if you're really going to be good at it, you need to be allowed to coach. What do you mean? I say, well, most head coaches want everybody to do what he wants them to do. And it takes a little bit of your individuality. So what I noticed when I got here with Joe, everybody did their thing, and then they came together at the end. It wasn't like they came with some marching orders. You have to be allowed to do a little bit outside of what else, of what I think. If you're under me, you got to do a little bit outside of me, because every player don't think the same.
No.
So you got to figure that out.
And your strength might have been better in the front office.
Yeah, I would never want to be under any coach, and if I become a head coach, I would never want to tell my guys, you gotta just do it because I want you to do it like this.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna have a conversation and we're gonna have a multitude of influence going, just like they're doing right now.
Seems like what they're doing.
Yeah.
What you just
It's
explained.
exactly what's going
Yeah.
on. So
Yeah,
you know what? Hey, I'm impressed with it.